Hello everyone, it's Dasher Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So, this time we are going to make a miniature transfer wallet. So just move that out of the way. So it's basically this. So this is called a transfer wallet. This is a small version of this. So I've lovingly recreated this. So this is what's called a transfer wallet. Sometimes they're called a spiral wallet because they've got these spirally things in. Obviously I don't have a miniature version of this, but it's my kind of interpretation of this, and we've also made it slightly different to this. We're going to make one slightly different to this one. So this is, I've called it an evidence wallet, transfer wallet, whatever you want to call it, just only simply because I used that stamp that said evidence on it. So it's a little box gusset folder, so you can fill it up with stuff. Like I say, we're going to make one of those. So I've got some measurements for you. And I've converted it lovingly. I would say lovingly, but it wasn't. It was a chore converting it from centimeters, which is what I used, into inches for you guys that use inches. So you are going to need a piece of cardboard, and this, I've just used a file folder here because you know I love using my file folders. So we're going to use a file folder in this case, but you could use any card as long as it's got a bit of strength to it. You obviously don't want paper, it's a bit flimsy and it won't hold together. So you're going to need it, and I'm just going to get my notes out because Brian's here and he's helped me work through these notes and make sure they all he's actually done. So I did it in centimeters and he recreated it in inches, and it works. So the conversion works. So that was the good thing. So you are going to need a piece of cardboard that measures 36.5 centimeters long by 16.5 centimeters high, or 14.25 inches long by 6.5 inches high. Yeah, so once you've cut that out, okay, so I know you're going to take some time to do that and you get the things together, but the other things you're going to need is you're going to need some of these split pins. I call them split pins, brads, I guess you could call them, you know, where the ones where you fold the backs open, because that's going to be our mechanism in here. Okay, and you're going to need pair of pliers, and you'll be thinking, what earth am I going to be using pliers or jewelry snips or whatever they are? Literally, basically you're just going to flatten this bit down, but I'll come to that in a minute. Yeah, and once you've done that, then you know, once you've cut that out and you've got all your equipment, really there's not much else other than just some more bits of cardboard and paper and those sorts of things. So once you've got your piece of cardboard cut to size, 36.5 centimeters by 16.5 centimeters, or 14.25 inches by 6.5 inches, then you're going to need your scoreboard. Or if you don't have a scoreboard, just, you know, a good tip is a bit of funky foam. Get a ruler, measure your lines across. Draw a line with pencil, and then a bit of funky foam, or that foam stuff, anything that gives, or a back of a mouse mat or something like that, and use your ruler. Butt your ruler up to wherever your line is, and then just use the blunt bit of a pair of scissors and just score down the edge. Don't push right into it, just score it. All you need to do is just break one of the surfaces of the fibres and it'll bend on that line. Or you could just fold against a ruler. So anyway, it's just a bit of a tip. So then what you're going to do is you're going to score it. So in my case I did it in centimeters, but like I say, Brian has just recreated it in inches for me. So what your first score line, if you're doing centimeters, is going to be 13 centimeters, then 13.5 centimeters, then 15 centimeters, then 16.5 centimeters. There we go. then 29 centimeters, and then you want another line at approximately 34 centimeters, and that's this line here, which I know is bigger than my scoreboard. You might have a bigger one. If you don't have all of these measurements, then just find the next line and score. I'll let you do maths because I it was hard and made our heads hurt. So you just want to butt the line of the edge of your paper up against, and then do whatever your line differences are. You work your maths out that sort of way. So, but if you're doing it in inches, he flips it over. It's going to be, your first score line is going to be 5 and an eighth. Your second line is going to be 5 3/8. Your next line, I've forgotten what line number I'm at. Third line, sorry, is going to be 5 7/8. Then your next line is going to be at 6 3/8. And then your next line is going to be at 11 1/2. Where is it? 11 1/2. Yeah. And then 13 1/2. So all you'd need to do is go from there and do 2 inches across. Okay, so if you've got 12 by 12, it's just, or if you've got a smaller scoreboard, and if you're not using a scoreboard, you're not confined by how many grooves there are on it. So okay, so once you've got those in place, there you go, that's it. Take a screen grab. Ta-da! And while you're taking a screen grab, just give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like this video, please. Don't forget to like this video. It's free. Like it. All right. It's got maths, it's education on it. Made my brain hurt. That's the least you could do. So once you've got these, then you obviously just need to fold on those lines. So you're just going to fold. So the first line, so with the biggest distance, so that's this 13 centimeter or 5 1/8 line, is going to fold so that whichever you want on the outside, you're going to fold it with the outside showing. So you're going to have the biggest distance first, then you're going to fold that next mini line. That gives you a box fold here. Then you're going to fold the next line back in on itself, then the next line as a mountain fold. So these two pieces pinch together, and that's what's going to hide your enclosure. And then this line folds in, and this line folds in. Okay, so that's the reason. That's how we've got it a bit different, is because we've got a little pocket on the back. Okay, so it's going to look something like this when we're finished. Okay, so I will just say it does have a slight overhang, but that's what wallets do tend to have. These transfer wallets do tend to have an overhang anyway. So I've tried to make it too real. That's the problem. So the next thing you need to do is you need to punch some holes. So you're going to need a hole punch of some kind. Now I've got a crocodile. You can use whatever you wish. Now you just need to choose where you want your holes. Okay, so obviously just then find the middle. You want something equidistant, so you want to find the middle of this. So you're going to make holes in just this piece here. Okay, so you're going to make holes here, and you're going to need to make sure that you can sorry, this crocodile isn't the right one. That's not going to help you make those holes, but your big bite is. If you don't have a big bite, then just use a brad and something soft underneath, or your mat. Don't try and do it on a glass mat, it will be difficult. But first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to measure the middle. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold all of this back away from you. So this is the inside, and you want to fold the two parts of the back away. And what way we're going to put the holes are, okay, so the holes are going to go in this pinched bit. Actually, you could do it with a normal crocodile, because you're going to put the holes in this pinched bit. So you see this bit here, I hold this open. This is where your box fold is. This is going to be your back. This is going to be your front, and this is the bit where you're going to put your holes in. I'm not going to use the crocodile because not everybody's got one of them. I'm going to use a brad. So, like I say, we just need to find the middle of this. Which one we're going to use? 16.5. Oh no, 16.5 is much harder to do because this 16.5 is the only measurement on this which is accurate. So 16.5 to 16.5 centimeters to 6.5 inches is exactly the same. It's the only measurement that was exactly the same. So half of 6.5 is at 3.25. So that's our middle. Yeah. And then you just want something equidistant from that looks about right for where your hole punches should be. So I think I'm going to go 1.5 either side. You know, you have them, you do you, as that man says. That isn't me. That famous crafter that isn't me. So you've got all of this folded back. So this is your box fold. Yeah. So your box fold is there. You're not cutting into your box fold at all. You're just cutting into your your third score line that's folded back on itself. You're going to cut into this bit here. Okay. So once you've got your hole, you want to then, where you're going to put your holes, you want to then find the middle of that, in which case is, so this is 1/2 inch. Put a hole there. I'm just going to put a marker so that I know where it's going, and then again equidistant between those two fold lines, a hole there. I'm just going to make a hole in that, push it through. Don't poke it into your fingers, Dave. Push it through. Okay, so you could use a proper hole punch, and then that would actually give you the holes would be the right distance. But remember, we're scaling down, and that's not necessarily going to be the right distance. I wonder if hole punches are standard across the world, because our paper sizes, America paper sizes, are different to most of the rest of the world. So I wonder if their hole punches are in the same place. That's my brain's going, I'm going to have to think about that. So I will use my crocodile. I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to, because I'm going to make life easy for myself. And I'm just going to make a couple of holes now. So just over where I've just made the brad. If you don't have this, then don't use it, because you can't. That's useful, Dave. Thanks for that. Okay, so that's what we've got now. That's what it looks like, and it's supposed to look like this with a double hole here. Yeah. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add split pins. I don't know which ones I want to use. Whether I want to use the ones that are the matte finish or I was going to go for the shiny. And what we're going to do is we're going to flatten these down, because inside our little folder, those little flat pins are trapped inside this fold where it folds back on itself. So we are going to, so this is going to fold this way, and they're going to be trapped in this bit here, so you don't actually see them. So we need to make them flat, because they are a bit dimensional. All I did was I just squeezed them flat using this. Obviously you don't want to bend them too much, because they will just snap. It is just like very flimsy metal. But you just want to go around and flatten it down, so it's a bit more like a thumbtack or a push pin or a drawing pin, as we would know them in the UK. Just go around and flatten it all down. Flatten that edge so it's no longer a little dome on the top, it's just flat. There we go. So there you go, two little flat. So if you look at how they're different now, so this is the one, this is how they looked before. Let's just put that on my hand, and that's how I've flattened them down, and hopefully you can see the, if they stay apart, hopefully you can see that difference now. So we've just flattened it down just so that we can enclose it in this bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to push it in from, so where the majority of the folder is, you're going to push it in from that direction, because this is your front and this is the back. Yeah, we're going to push it in from that way, and we're going to push it in from that way on this one. Yeah, once it's through, yeah, you don't have to glue them down. Okay, so you don't have to glue this bit down, because this whole pocket is going to fold over, it's going to tuck away, and you're not going to see them, and they're not going to move because you're going to have a whole load of glue down here. Now what I used was, I used my Fabri-Tac. No, it's not Fabri-Tac anymore. What do I use now? Collal. So I use Collal. Why do I use Collal? Because it's cheap. Well, it's cheaper. And yeah, and because Brian mistakenly said to me one day, I wish I could buy this in a bigger quantity than these bottles. And then I found that he could buy it from the Netherlands, including shipping, to be a lot cheaper, and bought it in like a 5 litre, no, 25 litre? A 25 litre a drum. So so now we've got, we could supply it basically. So he just tops it up whenever. I got my research fee is that I just get the get it topped up. So so yeah, there you go. So you're just gonna now stick that down, and you just want to make sure it completely like welds, so this glue doesn't dry instantaneous. It's not like tacky glue or art glitter glue, or the glue that I've recently been trying, well, Brian's recently been trying, which is what?
Never again.
What? Oh, he's not using it.
I am using it.
All right.
I've used it, but I've never used it again.
Oh, right. Okay, so Brian doesn't like this glue that I bought. That was only £1, but he doesn't like it because it goes everywhere.
It won't come off.
You can't.
Like, it stuck that down really, really well, but it's all I can feel now.
Oh, right. Oh, so he feels, he says it's all over his skin and he can't get it off. So we're not buying that again. It was only £1, so. And
it feels awful.
It's Pentart. Sorry, Pentart. No offence. Well, you know, no offence, but lots. So once we've done that, then all we're going to do is we're going to glue that bit down as well. So this little gap here, we're going to glue that in as well. Yeah, so you're just going to open it up. You don't have to worry too much about this one. This one's not going to hold any stress. So he was saying nice things about it until like a couple of minutes ago. It stuck really well, but he's also stuck to everything now.
I've washed my hands 3 times and it's still all over me.
All right, so I don't know whether you heard that, but he said he's just washed his hands 3 times and he still can feel it all over him. So. And then we're just going to stick that bit down now. So I know I've just turned the orientation of that round, and I'm trying not to confuse you, but now you wouldn't have the pen marks on here because you'd have been sensible and you'd have used a piece of paper. Sorry, a piece of paper. No, you'd have used pencil, but I wasn't sensible. I was trying to make it so you could see it, to be fair. So rubbing that bit down just to make sure you get a good adhesion. And obviously, when you've put your split pins in, you just want to make sure that they are going to, when you split them, they're going to split this way, and they're not going to split this way, because that'll just get in the way of everything. Right, so that's the basis of the document wallet complete. We're going to make the other bits, but now what we want to do is, this is the additional bit that we didn't have in the original. So this one didn't have a pocket on the back, but we're just making it a bit different by putting a pocket on the back. Just making it extra special for you guys. Extra special because it's Easter tomorrow. So we're just going to score that line in. The only reason why this line is here is it just strengthens that edge, so it doesn't get all floofy as much. Well, it doesn't get as floofy. Okay, so so obviously we're not going to stick that bit down, but we're just going to stick this bit down. So again, no, I won't this time because I don't need that. I'm going to use my white glue. So which is the white glue I am currently using is the one that comes in the tub. What is it, Brian? Book binding. Pin flare book binding glue is what I use, which is very similar to art glitter glue. So I know art glitter glue isn't as widely available in the UK, but it's very similar substance. There are some of the white glues that I won't use because they're terrible. So in fact I threw a whole bottle of one away, which was another brand I can't remember, and I don't think I should be naming and shaming. Okay, so and all I'm going to do is fold that, store that fold in, and that's just going to give us a little pocket in here. Okay, so that's really all that we're going to get extra from it. Okay, so I'm just going to glue down this edge and glue down this edge. And the other reason why I like this folded over thing is it kind of forces the pocket open a little bit, and it's much easier to get things in and out of it because it doesn't make it kind of gapes. You see how it gapes a little bit, and that's good because it helps you to put things in and out of it without, you know, struggling sometimes when you're trying to shove something in a pocket. Now you could put a thumb punch in it, but I'm not going to because it's a bit more authentic like this. Okay, and you know me and authenticity. So the next thing you're going to need is you're just going to need a strengthener. So if you look on our demo one, so this is our little strengthener. Okay, so it's just a piece of cardboard with holes cut in, and that is to replicate this thing here. You could use some mirror card or something for this bit. So it's basically a replication of this, and it's just something to kind of just strengthen that, and it stops the paper bending in on itself, and also adds to the authenticity side of things, because you know that's an important factor for me. So in order to get that, all you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of cardboard of some iteration. We'll use a piece of orange, okay, and then, so if you think that this bit here, so is 1.5 centimeters wide, or whatever that is in, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4/8 of an inch, nearly 5/8 of an inch. Yeah, that. Just want to make sure it's narrower than that. So it needs to be narrower than 1.5 centimeters in my case. So we're going to go for 1 centimeter. No, Dave, we're not going to use a pen, when we can use a pencil. We're going to 1 centimeter. Put a line. 1 centimeter line, and then 1 centimeter and a line. Okay, and then we're just going to join those up, and we're going to cut it though. Sorry if my head's in the way. There we go. Blade. So I've changed my blade so it's much less likely to slip. I'm just going to cut, that's way too long for what I need it anyway. And then you just decide how big you want that. So it's obviously got to go over these two things. So we're just going to, I'm going to cut it about there. In fact, it's literally going to be about there. Okay, so if you want to give it a bit of shape, you can. You might want to snip the corners off, or that's exactly what I'm going to do. Snip my corners off. and then you want to put it next to wherever you're gonna, put it next to the brads that you've got, and then you just want to mark a mark where you're gonna make your hole. So there, and there. And I'm just gonna get my crocodile. Sorry, Brian's just sneezed, so that's quite. Yeah, he did it very quietly for Brian.
I almost popped my eyes out the socket.
Because he stifled it. He says he's nearly popped his eyes out of his socket. So just gonna make these holes. I'd keep doing that. Put my fingers in the mechanism, and then I end up pinching myself in it. And so that's literally going to go over the top of these. On here. Right. If you haven't opened your split pins, Dave. Like that. There you go. That's our little strengthener, but we don't want that to go there. And then we're going to make ourselves a little envelope to go inside. So I did make it out of this wrapping paper, postage paper stuff, but I'm going to make it out of this. These are old groundwork leads, doesn't exist anymore, so these were being thrown out. So whenever anything gets thrown out at my place of work, I'm there for it. It's always, I don't know, I might even leave that on. So how are we going to make this? How are we going to make it? Well, we're going to make it the way that we learnt to make one of the document wallets. I might have to cut it down a bit actually. So I'm going to make it, again, it's going to be a little guesstimation thing. I'm going to make it about that wide. So remember, you know, back to basics lessons again with how to make a a little money wallet thing, whatever they're called. So just put that line down there, that line down there. So you've basically made a little tube that you've then flattened either side. I are gonna cut this down.
You're pirate.
I are gonna cut it down. I are. So I'm gonna cut this bit off. So that's going to go there, and so then we want the overhang to be we wanted to cut it down about there. In fact, I'm going to cut that much off. So it's just tracing paper. So, but you know, you don't even have to make this bit. I'm showing just my authenticity side of things, and I'm just going to cover that over. In fact, I might do it so it's backwards. Don't really want to have groundwork leads over everything. It doesn't exist anymore. Groundwork leads. We're now Groundwork Yorkshire. We merged with the other trusts around the area, so there we go. Have it like that. I'm going to have an off-centre gusset because I was going to say I'm up for an off-centre gusset, but it sounds wrong. So, so once you've done those sides, then you're gonna fold up your bottom again, for want of a. Which one do I want to be the top and the bottom? Might fold this bit up. Yeah, let's fold that bit up. No measuring going on here, just literally making folds. And then we're going to fold the top bit down. How big do we want it to be? That there. Fold that down, then open it back up again, and you're going to cut the bits off that you don't need, which which are basically the 4 cornery bits. I'm going to cut that with a slight shape. I'm going to use a bigger pair of scissors because, you know, why not get all the scissors out, Dave? And then I'm going to cut just slightly off, so I'm going to be slightly above this line and down to that corner, and that's just so this doesn't get in the way of the flap. And then again on the other side, so slightly up, down to the corner, and then cut that at a slight angle as well. Okay, and then do the same on here, so slightly off from that corner, sorry, from that fold, right to the corner, and then a bit more of a shape that way. Up to there, and then cut this bit off. Into the corner. Fabulous. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip the corners of this. It's not going to be perfect because it's not a right angle. So probably a wrong angle, to be fair. It's an angle been made by me, so it's possibly a wrong angle completely.
Can't be, we did math and everything.
Well, not on this bit, we didn't do any maths, Brian, so there's the good chance that this is a wrong angle. There we go. It's kind of...
Did maths, so come to the rest of the night.
Oh right, so once we've done maths once, it's
Well,
kind of
that's
makes
it,
it
yeah.
makes everything
Makes
everything right. Apparently that's how it works. That's how this maths thing works. This is not going to go right.
Just so you can have that 2 minutes of going, well, school was
Well,
worth it.
It's not. That's not the same, is it? But never mind. Not. And then I'm just going to... in fact, I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to cut that off at an angle. Because I can. Similar sort of angle? Yeah, similar sort of angle. That's fine. So, that's going to go on the inside. Put a run of glue down there. Where does it need to go? Oh, perfect. Just on that line of groundwork leads. So just on there, and because I'm using this acetate base glue, the Kalal, it's not going to warp your paper. So, and tracing paper is very prone to warping, so don't get it wet. It's like, you've got to think of it like gremlins. Don't get them wet, or feed it after midnight, or whatever the other terms of having a gremlin is. And I don't mind seeing this gluey gubbins bit because it's like the mechanism of the thing that you've made. So it all adds to that authenticity thing, that faux authenticity that I like. I might keep that because that's got a bit of interest on it. It's what our architects used to do drawings on, but of course they do them all on computers now. So they don't do real drawing anymore. So once we've done that, we also then need to make, so rather than putting punches in my envelope, what I did was I sat it on a piece of cardboard. So if you look at the example here, this one sits on a piece of cardboard just in there. It's just glued down that piece of cardboard. So we're just going to do that same thing with this. How big do we want it? Yep, just about yay. Okay, so we want to cut that bit down. Let's get cut on that pencil line that I can't see. Not that pencil line. Yeah. Just going to cut that bit. And then we want to cut it. Just going to go about an inch, I think. Over to that line. Get out of the way. I like this dark green cardboard because it looks part of the aesthetic. I'm going to make it a bit inky, I think, before I do anything to it. Yes. Oh yes. That takes ink nicely, that. Makes it even darker, which I like, actually. So, okay. And then I'm going to do something to this. I'm going to make this a little bit older looking. Perhaps I should have done this before I did anything with the envelope, but oh well. So this is a hybrid ink, so acid-free hybrid ink. This is Palette Haystack. I don't know who that's. Not Giant Haystack, but Palette Haystack. So because it's a hybrid ink, it shouldn't smudge and should dry, rather than if you used like a Tim Holtz, which would just sit on the surface and not go anywhere on, especially on tracing paper. So we just want, it's not, this colour's nice. This is Haystack, which just gives it that almost yellowy. You know how this tracing paper goes. Tracing paper does tend to yellow over time, especially from the, like I say, we've got some old documents from at work that are old drawings from architectural drawings, and they've definitely yellowed over time. There we go. Just really like the way it just catches on that join. There we go. That's going to be our little document wallet for in here. We're going to stick it to here, and again we just want to make sure that it's kind of in the right sort of place. I'm going to kind of go equidistant again. There's no measuring involved now, we're just making lines. If we go in, oh dear, this is probably not a good idea to do that. Might need to have my line go in a bit further. I can see where it is when I put it into the crocodile. Still can't see where it is, so. Do you know what? I'm just going to make a hole. Just going to do like I should have done in the first place and make a hole in it. So I use that and then make that in the middle of there. It should be in the same place on both top and bottom. Sorry, I'm talking to myself now. And then I'm just going to cut those out with my crocodile. Then I'm going to glue this to there. and that'll hold it in the wallet. Just put a line of glue down this edge. Again, I'm using this because it will hold the what's it called, tracing paper better without getting it wet and therefore wrinkling it. And again, just put a bit down there, put that on, square it up ish, square it up ish, probably not square though. Nobody comes to me for measuring. Please don't come to me for measuring. No, not after the farce that me and Brian just had. So I'm just going to round that corner off, which is another little thing I didn't do last time. Change the roundedness of that corner. Do that on there. Cool, that's that. We're going to put a bit of, let's get some of this, a bit of that on this bit. There we go. So that's going to go in there, and then we also want some paper of some such sort thing. So we'll go for something again, you know, when we're making faux paper sizes, so it doesn't really matter. It's whatever takes your fancy, whatever floats your boat, whatever blows your skirt up, all of them other euphemisms for all of the things I probably shouldn't have said. Too much information. You know, come to me for the too much information. All the faux pas in life, you can expect them here. There's lots of euphemisms for liking something, though, isn't there? Floating your boat, blow your skirt up, whatever. I think that's just hilarious, that one. Whatever blows your skirt up. When you're having a Marilyn Monroe moment. I'm not even going to bother cutting that in half. I'm just going to cut the fold off, and that should do the job. Big do we want this to be? To about there. That thing keeps falling out of my cutter these days. I think I'm due for a new cutter blade, so the cutting blade has started to get, you know, when like they start to get a bit teary, that's it, teary, not teary. Well, they might get a bit teary after I've used them. Do that. Put this on top. Put that there. Make some marks where the hole's going to be. Just make those holes again. Same on this side. Keep your fingers out of the mechanism, Dave. So we've got those to go in there, but actually we'll put something in the back as well. Maybe something folded up. just make a little thing. And this is a I guess it's my version of a tiny attacher. Sorry, Tim, but my tiny attacher was a lot cheaper. Sorry, a stapler. Yeah, Brian gets very frustrated with the tiny attacher thing. Don't want that piece of paper. I want something a bit different, because I do, and I will, and I shall, shan't I? I shall, shan't I? Might have a tiny bit of this, actually. How much do we want? You know what, I bet this has got nothing on the back there. There you go, nothing on the back, so I probably should have done the back, used the back bit. Literally, I'm only going to use the tiniest bit of this. About to there. A nice paper. Don't get me wrong, a lovely paper. In fact, I am going to use this for something at a later date, but at the moment, I only want the tiniest bit. Cut it to there. There we go. I'm just going to fold that over. I'm going to put that in there. In fact, we're going to ink it first and make it look a bit more time worn, aged. A bit on the front, just gonna have like a little notepad thing. So yeah, this is just a Bambi. It's a Rexel Bambi. Doesn't always work. The spring inside doesn't push the staples forward. You just have to tap it and they move forward. It's fine. So we're going to put that in there. I might put some evidence on it. That's the whole point, isn't it? We're making this little evidence-y wallet. So I'm going to get some of these nice stamps out. I'm going to put some of this on it. I'm not even going to take it off the thing. Look at me, like flying by the seat of my pants. In fact, I'm going to use this other palette one because I got them. I think these cost me £1 or something from wherever I got them from. There we go. Put something on a few pages. Like somebody's made some notes. That's like a policeman's. Do they have notebooks anymore? Don't know whether they do. Probably make a note in their smartphones, to be fair. There we go. Just don't need something on every page, Dave. There we go. I'm going to put that in there. Now a little evidence-y wallet bit. I'm going to put the paper in. Or let's put some. Could do with not pulling everything down off the shelf above. Stick this to here. Oh, that's probably not a good idea, using your hand to pat it down when it's covered in ink, but hey. Oh dear, that's not, doesn't print particularly well. That's No offence to your palette, but it probably dried up. It's probably the reason why they were cheap. Oh no, let's go for black ink. I feel it would be in black ink, the evidence. Although now you're all thinking, oh, it's just contaminated that well. Oh well, never mind. Oh yeah, red. Oh, maybe red. Maybe I might do the overwriting on the front pane in red. I know this is more like equations, but we work with what we have. Just going to turn it upside down so it looks like different text. And then this time we're going to do it, I don't know, maybe like that, and a bit like that. There we go. And I might put I might do a Brian. I'm not doing a Brian, obviously. It's not his. He doesn't own it, the term. Do you?
What's that?
Stamping in red. No, I like it, but like I said, I might do a Brian, but like I don't think it's. Sorry, I just knocked the camera. Apologies, folks. Apparently it's copywritten. Oh well, never mind. I don't have a brilliant red. Oh, I guess I could have used lumberjack plaid, but we're going to use this kind of burgundy red. There we go, that's fine. So it's all there for Boris's arrest. He needs arresting. Pop that in there. Okay, so I feel there should be something in there. Oh look, well, let's just use up the paper that we've got on the desk, Dave. Stamp it with something. I don't know, maybe this. Maybe not this, because we can't get it out. Oh no, maybe this. This one can have this on. Where's that? Where's that? I will tidy all these stamps up. No, I will. I'll have to.
You better.
Brian's just said a better because like he helped me tidy up in here. So we might use your lumberjack plaid on this one. Oh, that's very red. There we go. Try not to smudge it, Dave. We'll use something else. Maybe Enchanted Mariner on this one. There we go. And I'll just put them there for now. And then we'll just leave those blank. In fact, I might just staple them like that. In fact, I might just ink that a bit more. Stapler. We'll use a proper stapler this time. Oh no, let's go for the tiny stapler. Tiny stapler. There we go. Similar sort of thing for this one. I don't know. I'm just creating a something. That's all you need is a something. You don't need it to be an anything. Pop that over there. I don't know how much a tiny attacher stroke stapler is. but I believe that they're not cheap. They'll be expensive, I would have thought.
Not this year, but
Yeah, I bought Brian a little stapler for Christmas. It wasn't a tiny attacher. Otherwise, he'd have only got one Christmas present. I'll leave that. I'm not going to put a closure on this one. It's just going to go on there. And I'm going to use this, and I'm going to ink this down a bit. In fact, I might put a bit of something on it. There we go. Ink it down so it looks a bit more old. Pop that on there. And then just open up our fasteners. And then close it. We might do a bit of a corner rounding session. Put a bit of a rounded corner on this side. A bit of a rounded corner here. A bit of a rounded corner, as in a rounded corner, Dave, maybe. And then do the same on these. On that. That one there might have a, shall I? Yeah, that's right, let's do this. I told you it was going to be a bit different. I'm just kind of going off piste now. I'm going to put an oval in here. Ow, just trapped my hand in the mechanism, doesn't help. Yeah, and we're going to put a piece of cardboard behind that. No measuring going on here now. This is my embellishment. You do what you want to do. You do you. Which I'm sure you will do. Because that's all you can do, is you. That's all you should ever do, is you.
unless you're good at impressions.
Well, yeah, like Brian says, unless you're good at impressions, in which case then do somebody else. Margaret Thatcher? No, don't ever do her. Please don't do her. I'm just going to cut along there to hopefully try and get a bit of a straight line going on, Dave. It'll do. It's fine. Might round these corners off if I can get it in here. Use a bit of this plastic. Stick that there. I don't know whether you can tell what it is. Can you tell what it is? No.
Back away from that.
Yes, definitely back away from that impression. Put a bit of that round there. And stick that down. And then put this over the top. And this is going to be like a little pocket to put in the case file name, or because I have to kind of go over the top, unless it's like the lily has been completely gilded. I'm not happy. Yeah, Brian says that's what lilies are for. It's for gilding. So poor lily. We're going to go there. I might just have a little thumb punch out of this. Helps if we can see what you're doing, Dave. There we go. Ink that off. That can go sort of there. Sort of there. That's going to go there. sort of there or not. It's going there. Maybe I could have cut my plastic a bit straighter, but you know, it's fine. I'm perfectly fine with it. Ooh, maybe that's the right sort of place for that. Right, we cut that down on that line, or as close to that line as I could possibly get with a wobbly hand. A wobbly hand. I don't think it's my hand that's wobbly. It's my clearly.
Get the toolbox and we'll screw it back together.
Put that in there, and we can have, I don't know, a number stamped on it, maybe. Don't want that date on it, though, do we? We want the date to be obscure, so have it like that. In fact, that is very obscure because I don't even know whether it's the right way up. There you go. 35th of September, because we always keep doing that. The 35th of September. It was September. It was the 35th of. Copy. Copy. There we go. That might go in there. Might need to cut it down, I don't know. I think it might need to be a bit smaller than that, though. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut the bottom of that off. Otherwise you won't actually see the copy bit. Nothing in September. Sorry, that's stuck in my head now. There we go. That's fine. Got that. And then we might stamp it with Summit on the front. Not that one. Maybe in red. Maybe in red. Is dancing with me. No, Dave, just cheek to cheek. No, not cheek to cheek. Please stop it, Dave. I'm just going to put this on here because it'll be easier than trying to stamp. I don't mind it being at a wonky angle. There you go. And we're going to have, well, because we can't possibly get all of the numbers out. We can't possibly get all the stamps out. Why not? Let's get them all out, Dave. We're going to have another stamp block there. Number. Three, 7, 6. Number 376. I'm going to go for that in that colour. This in that colour. I'm going to put it the right way up. Put that on there. There we go. Perfect. Is that the right that Uncharted marinade, that is. That's fine. Just make sure I've got the right lids on all the things. That could go horribly wrong. Horribly with a capital O. Not horribly with a capital H. There you go. So that's what we've made. Might give it a bit of a inky dinky, because we can, and we should, because that's what we do. That's what we do here, isn't it? We do a bit of inky dinky. Not happy unless it's a bit inky dinky, especially on these creases. There we go. We've made a Crystal Fire should be paying me for this, because like they get a lot of advertising space on my channel. There we go. We've made a little documenty, wallety thing. Transfer file. That's what I was trying to think of. Transfer file, Dave. So I hope you like that. So we started off with this as our, well, this was my prototype. It's my prototype for the inspiration for this, and we've just expanded on it, and we've made it, we've had this extra bit here. We changed the pocket we had at the front. We've got a little pocket at the back, another bit of evidence bit, and then this all just folds up nicely, and it's just a nice another little thing. And once you've made one or two of them, you'll be able to make loads of them. So and you could give them as nice little extras in, you know, Happy Mail is so expensive these days. To send, postage has just gone out of the stratosphere. I don't know about the window. So just a nice little treat to send to somebody, maybe. Or, you know, if you do Etsy sales and you physically send stuff, maybe send one of those with it, with a few snippets in. So anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. My name is Dash of Dave, and remember, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I'm going to go and tidy this mess up now. All right then, folks. You all have a great day. Take care, folks. And I will see you all in the next video. All right. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of love. Lots of hugs. See you soon. Bye.